You want a piece of me, boy?
Nuclear launch detected.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Nation Wars 4 with Blizzard Entertainment. Thank you so much for being on the stream. I'm joined by Zombie Grub. First time for Nation Wars. How are you feeling today?
I'm actually feeling really excited.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm super happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me, I guess, to everyone, and English included. But I'm very excited for the next match as well. I mean, South Korea versus Croatia, I guess, is a bit predictable in some people's eyes. And for South Korea, I mean, it's a pretty damn good team.
Yeah, we can say it, I think. Like, most people anticipate a 4-0.
Yeah.
It depends on who's going to be sent out first, but does it really? Like, I don't know. Like, can Innovation, Zest, or Beyond get an all-kill on Croatia?
Yeah, that's kind of what I think they're probably betting too. Like, which one of us is going to all kill? And I don't know who they're going to send out first. But I mean, to be honest, the reason I'm excited is just because we're going to see Beyond Innovation and Zest. Not to give Croatia too much, too little credit, I suppose. But South Korea, of course, going to be a favorite to win the entire Nation Wars just in general. They got second place last year and have a really awesome team this time. So.
Oh, they've got even a better team than last year, to be honest, because, we had some issues getting all the players that were voted in. That didn't happen this time. We will have Beyond, we will have Innovation, and Zest playing this year, and this just sounds like a great series to start up things with, and apparently Korea has made their choice.
Okay.
They want Beyond to make the all-kill.
All right, so Beyond the all-kill, definitely possible. I mean, I guess Innovation is like actually playing another tournament right now, so maybe Beyond just was like, no, I'll do it. I got it, guys. I'm fine.
So he's going to be playing against Blask. So a player, obviously we don't know a lot about those Croatian players. We know they all have been in the Grandmasters League this year. That's the reason they are here. He's a Terran player, so it's going to be a TVT series to start things with. And well, no matter the matchup, I guess Beyond is always going to be the favorites here. But I don't know, like just seeing the new style TVT, Beyond showed a little bit of problem with it, I guess, by losing against Maru during Gyeonggi. I don't know if that's going to be something interesting here against Black. I don't know anything about his level, to be honest.
Yeah, right. I mean, well, I guess for Croatia, they probably could have looked at the two Terrans as the most likely to come out. I mean, Zest could have come out first, of course, too, but like you have two Terrans, one Protoss. So, I mean, it's possible that they specifically like just practiced against Terran and have something in mind if they're watching that series. Maybe they found something weak in Beyond's play, but I don't know. Like Beyond just, I mean, a macro god, a micro god, like whatever he does build-wise or style-wise, it's more about beating his mechanics.
Yeah,
so.
he's a Terran god, all right. So once again, just send us your tweets with the hashtag #CoreWin. It's written at the bottom of your screen. And for Croatia, the hashtag is actually HRV, which is the way Croatia is referred in those kind of three-letter situation. That doesn't make that much sense to me, but apparently that's the way it is. So just send us your tweets with those hashtags if you feel like Korea is going to win, Core win. If you think that Croatia is going to win, HRV win. And we'll be monitoring those numbers a little bit further away. I'm guessing you guys are going to be tweeting for Korea, but maybe you know something that we don't about Croatian players. Just a great best of 7 coming up. That's obviously the worst thing that could happen. Like, you're really happy you've got a team as Croatia. First round, you guys going to be playing against Korea. Just good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, well, the seeding's done. I mean, it's always going to be tough for these teams. It's really, I mean, they really don't have anyone super recognizable, but it's awesome that they get the chance to actually showcase at least what they can, I suppose. Like, all three of them going to get a chance here. Well, and one more twice, I suppose.
First map is going to be Vanny Research Station, so same starting map actually as before. Gonna go for a TVT on this one, so the win ratio on the right don't really matter on this one. But just a great macro map, I would say. We could see some mech maybe from Blast from the Croatian player, because the way I feel it, you don't want to be obviously the guy like going all out with aggression, maybe just playing like a really great macro build just to feel a little bit comfortable about your play, and maybe just being happy about having the opportunity of playing an actual macro game against Beyond.
I guess there's probably something of like the fanboy in everyone when they do that. Like that's why they want to play these online cups, is because like I really hope I get classic in the first round. And sometimes you do, and it's just awesome to have that replay and to show all your friends and whatnot. But also for these players, probably going to be great practice to like look over for all of the replays.
Definitely.
And that mech point though, that might actually be a possibility. Like Beyond has shown weakness against mech in the past. Of course, that was with Tankovax, and even before that, I guess, Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah.
But mech can be that style that, like, if you feel comfortable defending, which can sometimes be called like the easier way to play, right? Just defend, defend, defend. Then you just go in it. It can be good.
All right. You want to do the honors?
Sure.
All right.
In the top position for Korea, he is the blue Terran, Beyond.
And in the bottom side of the map, his Terran opponent in the red, playing for Croatia. This is Blask. So our first time for me casting this guy, and probably for Blask also the first time in his career that he gets to play against such an opponent like Beyond.
Yeah. So, we brought up the mech, and it is Vanny, so I gotta get used to saying it the correct way, by the way. Like, I've always said it the wrong way. Vanny Research Station. Like, it could go mech, but unfortunately, with like the TVT, the early game can be very difficult. So sometimes, like, you'll see the 2 Reaper, the Hellions, like that type of stuff, actually just win games, especially with someone like Beyond, whose micro is so good. And that's typically what we've seen from the Korean Terrans, to be honest, when they face players that they probably don't know themselves, or they think they're very, very strong against. They actually just poke, and they end up doing quite a bit of damage. So that's like the first test for Blask here, is like, how does he deal with the Reaper?
Exactly. He doesn't want his worst nightmare to be realized. Like, oh, okay, I'm actually gonna lose to 2 Reapers, but they're being controlled by Beyond, so I guess that's not that bad. But let's not get too carried away, because for now, this is a perfect mirror build from those 2 players, the Reaper and the Factory, actually canceling the Reaper for a tiny bit from Beyond to get that Factory up a little bit faster. Double gas from each player, so gonna be able to open up a lot of technology right there, probably some tanks. We'll see what they decide to go for. Actually, gonna go for the Cyclone first.
Oh, okay, interesting. So this can be used aggressively. Like, originally, it really was the ultimate defending unit, but then, of course, it changed a little bit, and of course, with the actual change, the patch change to the Cyclone, it can also be used aggressively. But we do have a command center coming down for Beyond. Blast is going to stick on to that starport a little bit faster. Maybe he'll be the one to get some aggression. It is on that tech lab, so probably going to be Banshees.
Yeah. Gonna go for probably a Banshee transition, or anticipating a Banshee from Beyond and getting a Raven. We don't know yet. The Cyclone are out on both sides. Gonna go for a mine first, Blast, that is.
Okay.
Maybe defensive mine, or should he, like, maybe he squeezes in a medevac? No. Okay, gonna go for the Banshee and the Cloak. No problem right there. But the CC, as you mentioned, from Beyond, way, way, way ahead.
Yeah, it's very safe move to go for that Widow Mine as well as your own Banshee in case they do the Banshee too. Because what's interesting is that both of them went for the Reapers, and we talked about a little exchange. None of them actually like went across the map with them. I think there might have been some paranoia for both sides about some type of super cheese. They didn't bother SCV scouting, but besides that, like, your one base opener is going to keep you usually well defended, even against the cheesiest of Reaper cheese. So I feel like there might have just been some, like, okay, well, he's not as good as I am, so he's going to cheese me. And then, of course, for Blast, he's like, well, he's Beyond, so he could cheese me and just win automatically. But now that I think they recognize, like, what the state of the game is here, like, it is going to go into somewhat of a macro game.
Yeah.
Maybe Blast will feel a little more comfortable. Of course, Beyond is going to be in his element no matter what. But it is up to, all eyes are on Blast right now. Like, what does he look like against the world's best Terran?
Obviously, how's his Banshee micro going to look like? Is he going to be able to take some SCVs out from Beyond? We'll see in a couple of seconds as the E-base finishing up. So he's going to be building one turret, second towards the main. Not going to go for the third one, but that we usually see. Great positioning by that Banshee. The Cyclone can actually target down that Banshee, and he might actually lose it with the mine from the Reaper, missing a little bit on this one. And the Cyclone is actually going to take out that Reaper. It's super close on this one. Can he get the win? No. So the Cloak has been used. The Viking got a volley off that Banshee, but no scan yet. But the Raven is actually going to go. Scan, and that's a dead Banshee.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the Banshee is so hard to actually make it do any damage, as most people are opening with a Cyclone or Widow Mine and the Viking Raven. The Starport has been completely upgraded in the most recent patch. It is like, before it was really great. You could Banshee medevac drops, double medevac drops, and Vikings are always useful. But now that Vikings have even more They have added damage versus armored,
Yep.
and the Raven auto turret can actually just take out the Banshee immediately. There's no like potential to get out of the scan range. It's probably like the best structure right now in TVT.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's always been a great structure of Terran, but I have to agree, like in TVT, it's been upgraded quite a bit. And as we see, Beyond goes for what he likes to do all the time, which is getting a reactor super fast on that starport to get the air control. A lot of Vikings, and on a map like Vanny, that could come in handy. First turret's actually going to get used, some kind of like tiny weird poke from Blast, getting the first damage done in this game with a siege tank on the ramp, getting the tank. The Cyclone is actually targeting it way better than anticipated. All those Marines are actually going to go down. The Raven from our Korean player is going to drop down a turret, and just losing a couple of FCVs right there and losing a lot of units for Blast, that is.
I'm really surprised he let his tank die. Of course, he might have felt like necessity, like at the GPS is possible, but I actually thought he would have saved it. For Blast, using that auto turret as quick as he did was probably a very weak point in that push. I'm not sure he could have done any more damage, like no matter what, but usually, especially with the shortened time in the auto turret, it is like that one hit punch to kill actually a tank, like even faster, but then it's gone very, very quickly. So that was like the only thing he really could have done to do something better. I mean, applying a little bit of pressure to Beyond, making things look scary for like even just a second is actually kind of impressive, but now it's Beyond's turn. I mean, he takes a third base right after defending that, and is going to push ahead here with the Vikings, which Blask was not going to see.
Yeah, he's not going to see it, and he's got no vision here, so is he going to go for the turrets? No, he's actually going to land the Vikings. He's going to go straight to the tanks, and as you mentioned, they get a lot more damage towards mechanical unit, but that tank is actually not falling down. Just one tank is actually going to fall down in the end, but losing a lot of Vikings in the process, not dealing any economic damage whatsoever, and losing a little bit of his air dominance. So I'm not really sure about that move from Beyond.
Yeah, I'm really curious about how Beyond's playing. It feels kind of to me like he is expecting to win with some single maneuver. So he's just kind of like, not exactly playing around, but like, well, I probably wouldn't have won if this was innovation, but maybe I'll win against this guy. So it's not actually doing what he wanted. Like, Blask is defending very well. I mean, his macro is falling behind a little bit. You know, he's down in SCVs, he's down in army supply, but it's not just this stomp that maybe Ben was expecting. So even losing those Vikings was actually, I would say, a mistake.
Yeah, I agree with it. Like, Vikings are so valuable in the TVT matchup. Those are like, and I can tell that because this is the unit that I love to kill in a TVT. That's a unit that you want to take away from your opponent as soon as possible. So giving those away, not really entirely sure with this, but it was also really close. The reaction time from Blast was amazing on the repair for his tank. So the situation could have been totally different if he wasn't that fast with it. Beyond taking a little bit of map control right there and starting to siege up that position a little bit outside of the third base, gathering with all his Vikings, getting the double upgrade. Both sides are actually the bio double upgrade, 5 Vikings against 4 and a PDD. So Beyond taking the better end of this engagement.
Actually, he does catch the Marines try to catch it without the tanks being sieged, but it looks like Beyond is going to be able to keep this position. He's actually going to take out the Vikings. 2 for 2 actually now, so he's not going to be able to push too much farther forward with his air control, and will actually just back off because of it. I mean, he doesn't have medevacs yet, and there really aren't a lot of Marines. You need that concave to actually bust Blast here, but I think it was once again a test, and it's just him taking control of the game, of the map. As long as there's no medevacs circumventing that he isn't aware of, then this is not a problem, and his reinforcements should all be balled up back at home, so he'll be able to react quickly anyway.
Okay, pretty good macro coming out from Blast, actually producing Marines 10 by 10, but also a little bit late on his 2-2 upgrades because, as we've seen, all the 1-1 upgrades just finished at the same time, and Beyond didn't miss a bit on this one, already starting these 2-2 upgrades, but that's not the case for a Croatian player. So a little bit of an advantage getting, got from Beyond on this side of the spectrum of the game, getting a second factory to Beyond, that is, to produce a little bit more tanks.
Yep. Double tank production should be something that also Blast will want to do in just a couple of seconds here once he gets enough money. But yeah, Beyond's been faster on the 2-2. He's been faster on the combat shields as well, which, again, if he had more Marines, maybe he could have utilized, but not so much. Things are going to time out okay, though, as they do engage, if they engage here. I mean, their upgrades really aren't that far apart, and combat shields, most importantly, will be done for Blast, but it's going to be all about positioning.
Right, Bly trying to set up a position on the left side, but a little bit too late to the party. All those tanks are really already sieged up. Is he going to try to take a fight? No. On the right side, I see the observers wanting to know what was going on. Okay, a couple of Vikings just waiting to, maybe intercept a couple of medivacs right there, but he's going to go and... Oh, that's not a good position for Blast, not at all. All those Marines are going to get shredded. That's actually a close fight. No, this is not good for Blast. Losing a lot of Marines and losing 3 tanks in the process.
That was pretty bad. You could see why he thought maybe that would be good when he pushed in there, but he didn't have a concave. Marines were all types of bulked up, and the tanks were already sieged, so not looking too hot. It might not be enough for Bjorn to automatically push in. He did lose his own Marines, but all he has to do is rally that huge ball in the mini-map right there. So he's going to rally it forward, and he'll have a 20, 30 army supply lead, maybe even if he does it absolutely perfectly, an upgrade lead. It's seconds off, but he is the one that's in control. He's been in control for some time, and Blast definitely made a mistake.
Yeah, if we take a look at the unit tab just for a second to know about the tank count, 8 tanks to 2, and that's something you don't want to ever happen to you in a TVT matchup with bio tank, because those are the main damage dealer. This is the thing that makes a fight go the other way, and right now with 2 tanks, I don't think he can make a difference. Will Bjorn go straight when he has 2-2, even though there's a lot of tanks sieged up? We'll see in a little bit of time, and that Viking control, man. So good from Bjorn. It's just sick.
Yeah. 1 is all you need for that site, and poking the medevacs away too. So he doesn't get the 2-2 advantage here, but it was seriously seconds. He probably wouldn't be able to get it even if he did push in. But he still has his army supply lead. And for Blask, I mean, he does just have to defend with all he has, but maybe given a couple more seconds, he'll decide to do a drop. I mean, he won't be able to do anything unless he drops, basically. Okay, there's 1 drop, but even that wouldn't really pull Bjorn back.
I think it's time for Bjorn. He's actually going to go in with all those Marines, splitting a little bit of them to soften up a little bit of that tank damage. There's just not enough there and there for Blask. He's going to get this position demolished, and soon he's going to be able to actually pressure the 3rd base. This is that was a great engagement by Bjorn, actually acknowledging that he's going to lose a little bit more than his opponent, but he had a 30 army supply lead, so he can take those kind of decisions. Even though that fight didn't go that well for him, he still have 30 more supply than him, and he just made a strong statement. I'm gonna come for that 3rd base of yours in a couple of seconds.
I feel like this reinforcement line might be the killing blow, but every single time he's gotten close to it, he's just lost all his Marines too, so he hasn't actually ended the game quite yet, but it's certainly getting there. And Blask, I mean, he's going to either get out positioned or just out macroed. And this is a bit of both, so...
Yeah, out microed, out decisioned, I guess, and all those Marines are actually going to stim in. There's nothing to defend. GG! And Bjorn takes game 1. I think nobody is surprised by that result, but it took a little bit of time, and as we mentioned, Bjorn made a little bit of... I don't want to call them mistakes, but wasn't able to finish that game as easily as I anticipated. Blast didn't play bad at all. He just lost to Bjorn in the TVT. Who wouldn't, right?
Yeah. Bjorn, I think there was a couple of cases of just him underestimating his opponent. So, and Blast did look pretty good in a macro TVT. I mean, it's really hard to compare him to Bjorn, right? So that happens. But if I'm looking at him just as the player, it's actually fairly impressed. And I'm surprised I don't see him in other tournaments at all. At least I have not. Maybe he's in smaller tournaments, creation tournaments. I don't know. But that was actually a really strong showing.
That was a good showing out of him. So it's either gonna be Ogwe or Ptak, which is Zergs and Terran players. So no Protoss in the creation lineup.
Yeah, I was going to say Protoss might have been their best chance. A lot of Terrans. Actually, it's funny. I mean, there's been a lot of talk lately about how Terrans actually pretty favored, but I know a lot of Terrans do not like the matchup. A lot of Protoss don't like the matchup, and I know Bjorn is one of those guys who just he doesn't like playing as Protoss. He likes to cheese against Protoss, actually, because he doesn't like it. But not an option here for Croatia. Unfortunately, their Zerg player might have been pretty strong, but against Bjorn, not so much. Bjorn's best matchup, TVZ, pretty good.
That's going to be one of the issues that we're going to have. Every time we will talk about Korea and the upcoming matchups, do they really have a player that can take a map? Yeah. And obviously, when you look at how the way the seeding has been done for those qualifiers, Korea is seed 2 or seed 1 in this tournament. They're obviously going to be playing players that we don't know that much about. They don't have any WCS points. They haven't been on the main stage of WCS or Starcraft yet. So this is like their biggest tournament yet, their biggest showing. So obviously there's going to be that slight issue of can they take a game? Probably not, but we hope that they can show some great games. So the next player from Croatia is going to be Ptak. So it's going to be the third player, ZVT.
Okay. I don't know.
Does he die to the 2-1-1?
I think so.
We want to know.
I actually think that Bjorn just does a 2-1-1 and probably kills him with, if not the first 2 medevacs and the third medevac. I say that not because I'm just like, well, this guy's just terrible. Like, I don't actually know the guy. But that's what happens to literally like Sue and Dark when they face Bjorn. Bjorn's just like super good.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like even during BlizzCon this year when he played, that wasn't Hydra. I can't remember his name. Come on. I shouldn't put myself in those kind of situations. Like, I want to talk about that guy, but I can't remember his name. Doing WCS, lives in America, plays for Team Envious.
Oh, Violet.
Violet, thank you.
There you go.
Even Violet lost to 2-1-1. Like, that's something that could happen to literally anybody. So let's see. Like, what I anticipate from Bjorn is actually going for that 2-1-1, so the double medivac drop with the steam timing, which is like super standard in TVZ, and that's obviously a build order that you want to kind of feel out your opponent with it. And sometimes you will obviously kill him because if there is too much of a skill difference, you can definitely kill with that opening.
Yeah. Well, what's so nice about that opener, too, is that, like, while it's very standard 2-1-1, there's so many variations and little additions that you can make. I mean, there's a couple of Hellion all-in builds that involve that. There's the addition of the third medevac as opposed to the drop medevac. Like, it is actually something that he can do, and that's why it's Bjorn's build, because he does it, and then he does variations on top of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes Bjorn, it feels like he wants to have fun in TVZ sometimes, like in a best of 7, and he'll just start using other builds, and he'll be like, well, I don't understand why, because you're not even as good as these builds. You are 2-1-1, and then if he starts losing, he goes back to 2-1-1.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a chance he does something kind of weird against this guy.
We'll see, because he doesn't have that many games, I guess. Like, because if he does lose with a weird build, it's gonna have to be on Innovation or Zest to finish the clan war, and he has the opportunity to finish it quick. You know? Just like guys, we're Korea. This year we've got the sickest lineup of all time. We're not going to lose any time against Croatia, but we're getting a little bit ahead on ourselves right there because this game is not even started. It's going to be on Overgrowth, I think. We've seen the map graphic, so I guess perfectly fine map to do 2-1-1 on.
Yeah. Well,
so maybe not thinking about what Bjorn could do, but what Ptak could do. Like,
I really don't know what Ptak could do. I mean, all-inning versus Bjorn has also not been super successful. Like, he's always aware. He'll never have his supply depot down. He'll always have his Marines, like, on a hotkey ready to go, and his splits are, like, instantaneous. Because that's the only thing I think of is some type of, like, Ling Baneling all-in that would really surprise him. And 2-1-1 is actually, like, a pretty good defensive build, too. So I actually have no idea what their plan is.
What I would anticipate probably is like a blind counter to the 2-1-1, which would be like an attack that would hit like literally at the instant those medivacs go out. Like maybe like a link drop or a link flood that tries to come in around like 4:45. Like those medivacs are out. I know they are because that's how Bjorn does his thing, and maybe I can get some damage done there.
Right. That was super popular like a couple months ago, especially against Bjorn because everyone knew he was going to 2-1-1. And it just wouldn't work. Like, he would, like, his supply depots would be down, for instance. Like, he'd make that mistake, and it just wouldn't matter. He'd come back with a medevac and be like, oh, I lost my natural, who cares? And then he'd, like, just wreck you with a counterattack. And you're seriously, like, questioning what do you do against this guy. That was months, actually, like, before BlizzCon. But I feel like it would still be true today. I don't know.
Bjorn is just, like... It's just the best player, like the best Terran player we've had in 2016, and arguably maybe one of the greatest players to ever play StarCraft 2. Because when we look at the way he controls his units, like he's got a lot of build. That's what makes him like a perfect player, in my opinion, is that he can play basically anything. You mentioned that he can play cheesy in PvT.
Yeah.
He can also play like standard macro plays, but he has a lot of different builds to his arsenal, and at the same time, he's got the best army control in the business. 2-1-1 is a build that can literally do nothing if you don't control your units properly. Like if you don't boost your medivac back when the queens are targeting it. Like there's a lot of tiny adjustments that you do all the time with your army, and Bjorn is just the best one, like no questions asked while doing this build. So it feels like there is no answer to how you should beat Bjorn. I guess to beat Beyond, you need to be dark. You know,
Yeah,
you need to be
exactly.
Sue or something like that. And as we mentioned, our Croatian player is probably not on that level. Let's go in the bottom left for South Korea. In the blue, it is Beyond.
And in the top right, as the red Zerg player for Croatia, it is Patak.
And I hope he can make something happen in this game.
Yeah.
In Overgrowth, going for the hatchery first. So first of all, not that worried about a potential triple rack Reaper. It's like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go for the pool first. Because Doc does it all the time, right? Like during I Am Gyeonggi, 5 games in a row, pool first.
Well, the pull first is actually such a, it has two sides to it. It has the defensive side, because they might 3-Rex Reaper, there's always potential. But then there's also the offensive side where you get those 2 lings, get to that command center and be like a little obnoxious Zerg, right? But what's interesting is that, I'm actually super curious about Nation Wars, because when it comes to the Korean Terrans, at least professional play, I don't know about ladder, they do not 3-Rex Reaper that often.
Oh yeah?
TY does a lot, but not really so much innovation or beyond. So, but the European Terrans are
Oh
all
my
about the
God.
3-Rax Reaper. They will just kill Zergs immediately with 3-Rax Reaper if they get the chance. So,
Okay.
I'm really curious to see what that actually looks like as we go on, and if that holds true for the next month. But
I think
yeah,
you
no
thermal
Rex
as a
Reaper.
bet with some friends or something. I'm gonna play nothing but 3-Rax Reaper for 6 months straight, and we'll see where I can get that build order going. So as you mentioned, no triple Rax Reaper, gonna go for the Rax Expand, Reaper Expand, and the transition into a factory, which is not the easiest way to get that 2-1-1 going.
No, it's not a 2-1-1 build. I did mention that he does like to mix things up. It really feels like it's just when he is not, he wants to have some fun. So sometimes it's kind of weird. Beyond has amazing macro, amazing micro, but when he does other builds of 2-1-1, we'll actually see a couple of mistakes from him, and I'm talking really small mistakes. But it does always feel like he's just having a lot more fun with it. So it's going to be a Hellion opener. Oh, it's going to be mech. Oh my god! Actually, Beyond, I'm really surprised he's throwing it out here. I know Innovations is Senpai and all that.
Exactly.
But I would think that if Beyond was going to swap up his style, he would wait for, well, to be honest, a different opponent, not Croatia, where they're going to be able, the next player is going to be able to study, oh, Beyond actually does this? Okay, they're no longer surprised. I mean, Patak will probably be super surprised. But
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good call from, well, if he wants to get the early win, I guess, Beyond that is, going for that build order that is not anticipated at all, because we mentioned it, we expected a 2-1-1, even maybe a triple Rax Reaper, even though he doesn't do it that often, but that's not what we anticipated, even though, as you mentioned, he loves innovation. Innovation showed what in Gyeonggi, showed that build order over and over again against Dark, played it 5 times in a row. So basically what this build is going to be, if you're not familiar with Starcraft that much, it's going to be Hellions and Cyclones, because with the new patch you can get Cyclones out with a reactor. You can be able to build them 2x2, and you can pressure a potential third base from your opponents. Cyclones do really well against Ravagers in tiny proportions, and Hellions are super mobile. You can get some drones, you can get Zerglings. It's a really, really cool mobile mech composition.
yeah. It's going to be difficult for Patak, especially since he might not still be expecting this. He's going for a 2-base lair with roaches, which, this don't see this build too often anymore. Back in the day, it used to be a lot about the Nidus worms. I would do this every single game, and I wonder if maybe that's something he was thinking about. But he's going to have lings, he's going to have roaches, but it's just a question of does he have enough, and can he get those surrounds on the Hellion Cyclone? Otherwise, he's just going to bleed out and die eventually.
He's gonna go for the Glider with Constitution, and not no Nidus yet, so not gonna go for it. Just gonna go for bulky composition of roaches with speed. But at the moment, I don't know that he can handle this pressure, because 6 Hellions and 2 Cyclones are actually enough to take out all those roaches. And obviously that mine from the Reaper connecting with all the roaches. Micro not perfect from Beyond. That's something that doesn't happen every day. So that's the reason I'm mentioning it. But still getting a little bit of damage done. Only losing 1 Cyclone and 1 Reaper, which is not that much considering he didn't lose that much gas compared to Tak, who's losing Queens, who's losing a lot of Zerglings, and with that a lot of lava.
Yeah, not to mention he's still not on a third base, so that larva is super important. He does end up grabbing another Cyclone, but of course, Overgrowth not the biggest map. Beyond can continue reinforcing as long as he feels safe, and the only way he doesn't feel safe is if there's 20 more lings, and he's on creep. So this is the scariest point in time when this stuff happens, and in fact, it does happen. He actually gets surrounded here.
All right, Ptak getting a pretty good surround on this one, and actually squeezing out a drone to get that third base going. Spire after that.
The Spire is super weird. I mean, this is like actually going back to like Heart of the Swarm strategies. Like, first of all, 2-base Spire just was not a thing in Legacy of the Void for anyone besides Bly again. But then also the road transition to the Spire is something that's really curious too. And it was at a very, very secret spot. It was just thrown right there. No chance of seeing that. This could be a complete surprise.
That could deal a lot of damage. Cyclones are not good at all against Mutas now.
No, not anymore.
The lock-on, as we can show here, is actually dealing 160 damage over 14 seconds.
It's so long.
Like, your Cyclone is already dead to the Mutalisk by the time you actually dealt like 80 damage, which is not enough to kill a Muta. So I'm actually liking what Ptak is trying to do right there. He's probably going to lose the third base, though. He's totally out of position if we take a look at in the north. Actually, he lost a little bit of time to transform those Hellions into Hellbats. And now the Mutalisk are going to come. So he's going to know in advance that the Mutatech is here, but he's going to lose everything. Is he going to get a Muta? Yeah, probably one, maybe two. No, just one for the moment. He's going to lose all the Cyclones in terms of army supply. Bjorn is not doing well at all. He's dropping an eBay. He needs turrets, and he needs them super fast.
He does. That was a complete surprise. It's a little unfortunate that Ptak had to show them, because like, what if he came in with like 20 mutas? That actually might have been game over. But this is the chance that Bjorn needs to get the Engineering Bay, missile turrets. He's going for Cyclones. He also could have added in Widow Mines. He's even building from the barracks, like one marine at a time. He realizes how important this hold is.
Guys, I think Ptak can make it. He actually destroyed the depot. He's pulling the SCVs. Bjorn is feeling the pressure right there. Even dropping some creep, like a cheeky overlord here, just dropping a little bit of creep, not going for the economy yet. He wants to get the fight, and he's actually going to go for it. The Zerglings coming in, and the Roaches are going to be able to target down the Cyclones. Are we going to see Ptak taking the game against Beyond? That would be so crazy. Already a huge upset. That turret is not going to fall down. Can he hold?
Oh, they're stuck. Well, the Cyclones can't maneuver back anymore. They're actually going to be taken out by the Roaches, but more reinforcements are coming in. And Ptak was not reinforcing with Lynx, so he cannot continue this momentum.
No way.
That was a lot of damage done, though. 20 SCVs died, or just about. Third C is down, but it's actually not secured to the missile turret, so it's going to have to be lifted.
22 SCVs went down, 6,500 resources lost. Ptak is doing amazingly well right there, not having a lot of economy, just going for 43 drones and nothing but units. Gonna get some more Ravagers. He needs Ravagers right there. He needs the bigger range to actually control those Cyclones who did a really great job. Like, the positioning from Beyond was just literally amazing. Anybody would have died to this.
Oh my god, the Lings actually might be perfect here. Once they get the Cyclones, they're not gonna be able to remove. Oh no, they're targeting the switchable rocks too!
No!
Oh my god.
Could you imagine Ptak like just going so mental? I'm actually gonna beat Beyond. Is this real life? God. Is this happening? That last Cyclone in the red. He's actually gonna take him out.
Oh
Ptak.
my god.
Oh my god. Taking out Beyond.
Oh my Jesus. Ptak does it for Croatia. Takes out Beyond, the best Terran in the world.
What? All right. There's something going wrong with Nation Wars in Korea. Ptak playing an amazing game. And just like, we mentioned that we didn't anticipate the Cyclone Hellion build at all, but I truly believe that having that small amount of Roaches and Zerglings and going for a Spire and 2-base is actually great. Like, I know a lot of people were like, why is Dark not building any Mutalisk against the Cyclone play, against Innovation? Well, Ptak showed us the way. Build Mutas and counterattack, and even if you show them, Cyclones don't do well at all with this. Ptak, what an amazing showing from Croatia.
Yeah.
Taking a point out of Korea.
It's Zerg, too, you know?
Yeah.
Excuse me. But it's Zerg. Like, actually, like, really quickly, they look like Stack said that it was his worst, like, it was Patak's worst matchup against Terran. And then Beyond's, of course, best matchup versus Zerg. But, like, it was, like, a little bit of, like, drunken master style going on, you know? Like, I think Beyond just, like, he expected something, you know, like Lings and Roaches, and you can really micro around that, even if you start taking a bit of the losses that we saw him take. But then the Mutas was such a big surprise. And the momentum, like, if he had stopped attacking for 30 seconds, like, that actually could have been enough time maybe for Beyond to get, you know, more missile turrets, a wall up, maybe some Hellions, deal with those Lings. Because I think he was expecting more Roaches.
Yeah.
He never got those Hellions again.
Yeah, Ptak just, I don't know, like, crazy performance from the Croatian player. I mean, the first hole from Beyond was already legendary. Like, I don't even know how he held the first attack. And as you mentioned, not going for it like, yeah, I'm going to go into a macro game now. No. I've got an opportunity to kill Beyond now. I'm going to regret it if I don't seize that opportunity. So he goes in again with a lot of Zerglings, a random Ravager, because that's all he had at the other side of the map, and just takes the win. And Croatia is 1-1 against Korea. Like,
so
I can't believe.
So, I mean, it did come down to, Zest is coming out next. Wow.
Everything's possible.
Right, yeah, of course. I mean, it was either Innovation or Zest, and both were perfectly fine. But I kind of expected Innovation, to be honest. But Zest, different race. Maybe Patak has nothing up his sleeve for that, because, you know Bjorn really, really well, and you probably know he's going to come out maybe first, maybe second. Again, I don't know about Innovation, but you can study him, and maybe that's what Patak did. And you got the perfect build lineup right there.
I hope he did. Yeah, he had the most amazing build against Innovation. Will he be able to do the same against Zest? We're gonna go into a quick commercial break, and when we come back, PvZ series between Patak, the guy that actually was able to take out Beyond, against Zest. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome back, everyone, to the Starcraft 2 Nation Wars 4th edition, still with the Zombie Grub, and we just witnessed craziness.
A miracle.
A miracle.
A Christmas miracle,
A Christmas
apparently.
miracle. It is indeed. Tak was able to take out Beyond in the second game of the best of 7 between Croatia and South Korea. Everybody expected a no kill by whoever would be sent out by Korea first, but boy, we were wrong.
Yeah, we were wrong. And Patak, I guess, was like the last guy on my mind to do so too. He was, I guess he hasn't played in a ton of tournaments, and it's always so hard to look at tournament results and say, like, well, this is their best matchup, because ladder can be so different. But that just felt like, I don't know, because the thing that really boggles my mind is that how did he really anticipate that it was going to be Cyclone Hellion? Was that on the fly thinking? If so, that was great. Maybe he actually knew that Bjorn was experimenting with it from some other source, or he knew Innovation was like teaching him. I have no idea, but damn, that was
it just blows
perfect.
my mind, like that he would go for such a like a counter play to a build that Bjorn doesn't do that often. Like, if he was expecting playing Innovation, I would have totally understood. But also, that's something we could talk about. Like, maybe they expected Innovation and they knew that he would go for that camera strategy, so he had like that build in his mind, and maybe, I don't know, like, scouting the fact. I don't know if he sees the factory though. Like, if you see the factory as a second building, maybe you can anticipate that it could be it.
Yeah.
Could also be like straight up Alien Banshee, for instance. But
yeah, there's a couple of different builds for it, but I mean, if you anticipated that it was the Innovation build, then that was the way to go. So that might have been also why Innovation wasn't sent out second. Although I actually think that would have been very. I guess in one way it makes sense, another way it doesn't, of course, because if Innovation sees that and like Ben's like, hey, I just got lost to it, Innovation would be like, no, I'll show you how to do it. Like, it's fine. Like, don't even worry about it.
So the Muslim actually tweeting at us, oh my god, Tak just beat Beyond in Nation Wars 4 in Zombie Grub Gaming. He's there in France casting too. Everything is hyped. It's really, really cool to have you here. Really, really happy with this. And thank you for everybody watching the stream at the moment and sending us tweets. Obviously, that's some of the magic that happens in Nation Wars. Random Croatian player, Tak, now you need to remember his name.
Yeah, now he's famous.
He takes out Beyond. Like, that's the stuff that happens, especially in that format, in the all-kill format. Best of one, you just only have one build to show, and maybe you can take out a game from somebody that's supposedly way better than you.
Yeah, supposedly way better.
Yeah.
There's like one other thing about Patak, actually. We're going to get in a game here. It looks like it's going to be on Echo.
All right. In the bottom right, our new Croatian hero. Get hyped! This is Patak!
In the top left, as the blue Protoss for Korea, he is Zest. But yeah, the one other thing I wanted to talk about, I didn't think I'd have time, to be honest, for Patak. I didn't expect him to get in the second game. Oh, we have a little bit of pause here, too.
All the time you want to explain.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
He was actually a Brood War player. He actually had a fairly decent Wikipedia. And he was apparently pretty good. He represented Croatia 5 times for WCG.
All right.
So but that's years ago. I didn't expect that to actually, result in anything like winning over Bjorn, but apparently he's pretty comfortable in the competitive environment. I guess that probably helped.
But the more we talk about him, the more I kind of remember like his name being around, like maybe go for a C2s or stuff like that. Or even
Maybe.
maybe played him on ladder. I can't exactly remember, but I know that's not the first time that I see his name. And you did your homework. He was there he was there during the Brood War days, and apparently he's got the skills. And I think more importantly, he didn't crumble under pressure. I'm playing Beyond. Well, you could either be like, oh my God, I'm playing Beyond, or I don't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
And in that case, I don't have anything to lose, but I also have the sickest build of all time against Hellions and Cyclones, and I'm just, like casually gonna take him out. Easy peasy.
There's been a couple of games actually, like against even specifically Beyond, where someone will start to get a lead and then they'll quickly fumble, and you realize the moment where like, oh my God, I'm winning against Beyond, and then they freely everything else. That didn't happen with Attack, and I'm very excited to see what he can do against Zest Protoss.
All right. So Attack going for hatchery first, then the spawning pool, so everything like quite normal right there. Actually squeezing in the gas beforehand, so we'll be able to gather up a lot of those resources and probably invest it into a speedling upgrade. That would be quite normal, I guess. The openings are really standard right now. Like nobody is doing anything crazy. Gateway down on the natural towards the ramp. The Nexus following up. So the question is like, how would you apprehend like such a game like this? You've just seen your teammate getting taken out by that guy that I can assure you Zest has never heard of.
Yeah, right.
Like, he doesn't know who this guy is. He just sees that he has to play. He probably had to wake up. Like actually, Beyond just called him. Like, I lost, man. I don't know what happened. Like Mutaz came out of nowhere, and now I'm out. You need to play. So Zest is here. Okay, what should I do to take him out?
I think Zest... Well, okay, so here's the thing about Zest, okay?
Right.
I think that maybe that probably happened. He was just like, oh, seriously, you lost me? Like, I gotta get up? Jeez, okay, fine. But Zest has been doing the same exact build every single PvZ. Just the 4 gateway Archon or DT into Archon attack. He's won a couple of games just with the DTs. He's won a couple of games just because of the Archons. He has the variations that come after, the various all-ins, the macro game. He does all that too, but when it comes to the opener, that is always it. So if Attack was really doing his homework, if the team is doing his homework, which it seems like they were, because he did just beat Beyond, then he would know what to defend against when he comes to face Zest.
Yeah, obviously he probably knows what's coming, and as you mentioned, Zest is a guy that likes his stable opening. Like, he's always been doing stuff like that. He likes to be safe, he likes to know what kind of transition he wants to go for, and once again, this is an opening quite like the 2-1-1, an opening that you can show your skills in terms of micro and army management. You can show it with the double Archon drop, because the micro possibilities are literally almost infinite. So that's something that Zest will be able to do. And as you called it, Twilight then Robo. Looks like a DD drop to me.
Yeah, he does love this build, and you're right, it's kind of become almost like a 2-1-1. So obviously, like Dark Templars, they feel cheesy, they feel like they're just gonna... If they don't do anything, then it was useless to get them. But actually, the way that Protoss players have been playing this, it's, it does go into a couple of macro variations. It goes into a couple all-in. The all-in timings actually, feel for the Zerg on that one. Like, telling exactly when the Protoss is going to attack you after this build, after the Archons are, harassing you all the time, can be very difficult. And if the Archon harasses on point 2, then no matter how much you anticipate the follow-up, you still can't defend it.
Alright, he's actually gonna throw down a Roach Warren just after scouting something that we all anticipated, and probably himself, because as we mentioned, he did his homework. He was able to take out Beyond with that ridiculous build with Roaches and Mutas, and now he sees 4 gateways, Dark Templars and a Robo. I know what this is. I'm gonna be getting dropped by Archon, so I need Roaches to make it work, because Zerglings clearly don't cut it.
Yeah, exactly. So he is going for a 2-base build again, Attack that is. I mean, he's getting a lair here. He's going to be able to get some fairly quick Roach speed. Of course, big benefit is going to be able to get an Overseer immediately. But even then, there's other builds that do incorporate a 3rd base that still have the lair timing. So it's very curious. I don't know if this may just be the way that he plays. This also is going to help him defend. Well, obviously, I think it is. Zest anticipates a 3rd base. Is pretty surprised. He's going to see the Overseer morphing in too.
Oh, that's a dead queen.
Still going to try.
That's a dead queen. I don't think he can... Yeah, no, he's not going to be able to defend that queen. But as you mentioned, the Overseer is here, but that's the tell of a really great player. Zest actually comes in, actually drops those DTs. Like, I can get a little bit more damage done before I morph them into an Archon. Yeah. The Overseer has the speed overload because he researched it a little bit earlier. So that Overseer is never going to let go. 472 move speed, as Kevin is showing off right there. So yeah, that Prism cannot escape. And right now, those DTs are not even Archon yet.
I think Zest was actually a little bit afraid of, he saw no third base, he saw a lot of roaches and lings, and of course, one of the things you think of when you think you're the better players, are they going to all-in me, which is actually possible and might have been Patak's plan. He's timing up his +1 and his roach speed very well here, but Zest, seeing that, actually went for his gateways a little bit earlier. He's still going to try and get that third base, but he's going to have production. Ideally, he'll have Blink, but at the very least, a couple of Immortals. And if he has to get the third base, I do wonder if that's going to be okay, because it's not even going to have that many probes there.
So yeah, not producing any probes, but Kevin showed us something. That's an Artosis pylon if I've ever seen one. Like, there's like 4 gateways.
Okay, he realized it.
He realizes like, oh my god, if I get byled like 4 or 5 times on those pylons, I'm actually going to be in a lot of trouble. Those DTs are still DTs. They're not Archon. And an attack from Tak actually going through those force fields, and he needs to go back. What's going on here? Can Tak do it for a second time against Zez? That would be so crazy. Those 2 pylons, they finished up. But now this third base is a little bit in trouble because there's nothing to defend there. And those pylons are going to get taken out before the photon overcharge.
This is actually very dangerous. The DTs come in. Okay, they're going to turn to Archons. I was a little bit curious about that. But there's not a really big Protoss army, and the force fields are already used, so he's going to go ahead and collapse on that Immortal. The Archon was not picked up in the War Prism.
Okay, did he save the Immortal? He did, but there's so many more roaches coming in.
Oh my god.
Is Tak doing
I think Zest made the mistake of trying to save his third base.
Oh my god, 66 army supply against 23. The Protoss player is actually losing a lot of stuff. The double photon overcharge. Tak, the hero, can he make it? Some more bars are going to connect with that pilot, but not going to take it out. Okay, Zest held on his natural, but will he be able to save his third base? Such a close game.
He needs to get that blink back up. That would be so helpful, but at least he still has the robo production up, but he's actually building from it right now.
He's going to lose the third base.
He is going to lose the third base. I think that it might... It's like hard to say now. Like if he lost it without giving away his army, then maybe that's okay. But he already tried defending it once and lost a good chunk of really important units, all those sentries. So I don't know now.
I'm speechless. Like, what the hell is going on?
I think he might just...
What the hell is going on? Can
pushing
finish the game right now.
Up against a Protoss on 2 bases has proven to be impossible for the last 7 years. Yes. So I don't know if he can actually bust him right here, right now, but he might be able to significant lead off of this. Now recall, Patak was not on a third base his entire time, which is why the third base of Zest was always a little bit questionable if he needed it or not. But... it's such a weird game, and it's so close.
Once again, Zest maybe, the Korean players maybe just underestimating Tak a little bit.
So.
Like you mentioned it, like defending that third base, considering how many units there were, was a little bit questionable.
Yeah.
And right now, we've got a Zest with only 43 probes, no third base, no upgrades against the +1 range of a Zerg player that's actually getting a third base at the moment. He took out the core, he had to build it again. The robotics facility was blocked by the Overseer spell, so there's a lot of stuff just going right for Tak, and now he has an opportunity, but different. It's a little tiny bit different with the game against Beyond earlier, is that he has no opportunity to finish the game at the moment. I feel.
Yeah. If he was able to stop production entirely and actually get in that natural base, this game is probably over. Just not enough Blink Stalkers, enough of them fast enough. But now that Zest has had some time and his production, stayed up the entire time, his Blink Stalker army is actually kind of impressive now. Like he was down, I think, 50 army supply at one point. Now looking a lot better, only down by 20. And the War Prism does provide a lot here. It can either pull back Patak's army or straight up just do damage, which would be great for Zest.
So even this Zealot harassment actually paying off a little bit, getting a couple of drones without losing anything. He needs free damage at the moment. He needs to climb back into this game. Spire about to finish.
Right.
900 gas in the bank. Can we see if he scouted it? I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
Zest scouted it.
The War Prism's been the main base the entire time. Is Patak's just gonna kill Korea because he gets a spy?
I would just literally lose my mind. Like Marine Lord last year, and now in the qualifiers, Patak can actually maybe get a lead against Korea in the first match of their entire career in Nation Wars. Croatia, that's the first year they've actually been able to participate. We mentioned it. This is the biggest Nation Wars ever with 32 teams. Croatia, one of the new ones, could actually maybe do something against Korea. 12 Mutalisks in a production tab.
Yeah. Oh my god, that War Prism still doesn't see it.
Lol?
The problem with Mutalisk, the good thing about Mutalisk, they're going to take out the War Prism, which is going to be really good, so you don't have to worry about that harassment anymore. The one problem would be that if Zest did push in, if he could push in, they weren't exactly at a high count, but I think with Zest pulling back, realizing he actually can't push into it, I think the Muta count is just going to grow way too much. He does have Blink, and that's good, but there's still no upgrades on the Stalkers, so they're not actually that great. And, of course, I don't think there's a way to get to Stargate, as third base is only just finishing. He's not to transfer his probes from the main there.
Yeah, this is Legacy of the Void. 10 minutes into the game, there's not that much minerals left in the main base. Like, he's got a huge issue in terms of income. He cannot build the double Stargates. He's actually building DTs to build some Archons. And those Stalkers, they're actually super split because he needs to defend the second base. He needs to defend the third. He is actually going to go for it. Okay, is he going to go in the middle? Like, I don't know what he's supposed to do. He's actually going to go for the fight.
Wow.
New force field. The bar is going to rain down on those sentries, whiffing a little bit. Those mutants, they don't want to fight against Archons.
Oh, that is actually super close right there. They almost took a lot of shots that they really should not have. But the Archon goes down. Just Stalkers left over for those Mutas.
No Archons left, and a lot of photon overcharge getting used, but the bile actually connected on those Immortals and those Sulkers. Okay, Zest, you don't want to move out. You don't want to take a fight outside of this range of violence.
Whoa, the Immortals are being left alone. The Mutas...
Mutas?
Why?
He has a vision of it?
Yeah, he sees them. So I think the Photon Overcharge is still a little bit scary, but he is going to be able... and they're so low, too. Like, all their barriers are popped now. I don't know if he's enough on the ground, though. Like, his Muta count has stayed kind of strong, and he's been investing into them, but the ground army really just went away after that fight. So I think Patak is going to be a little bit wiser here and just pull back for now. But his Mutas could, of course, as his ground army pulls back, could go into that main base, the natural. I don't think Zest has had much time to get static defense at his bases.
No, there's no defense at the third base. Let's see. Let's take a look at the natural. Yeah, a lot of Stalkers, but no static defense. So basically, every time you pull the army away, you've got an opening for those Mutalists to do some damage. And if he kills, like, I don't know, like, even like a couple of probes, 5, 6, it will actually make a tremendous difference in this game. He can't fight here. Even though there is no upgrades for the Blink Stalkers and he has +1 on those Mutalists, like, every single unit counts because, keep in mind, at the opposite side of the map, he has 4 bases, but he only has like 47 drones.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever gotten above 50, I want to say. So maybe that could be the next drone round, especially if he feels very confident. Now, I think the worry for Patak is that Zest will eventually get maxed out, especially if he's unable to do more damage, which Zest is defending very well. And that maxed out army might still be trouble for his still basic army, Bling Ravager, even though they're well upgraded. That's actually the real trick here. Usually we're so seeing Blink Stalkers +2, still nothing.
Oh, he's totally out of position, and the army is not entirely there. Okay, he's got a Mothership Core 2, so there's going to be at least 1 Photon Overcharge, but no Archons. This is a huge attack from Patak. He's going to connect with all the probes, getting 12 out of it, and he can save all the Mutalists. Patak is doing it! Can he get the 2 Archons? He actually going to go for it. Is he going to take the fight? I think he needs to go back with the Mutalists. But Patak,
I don't know.
What the hell is going on? Patak for the second win. Oh my god.
Mutas have +1. The Stalkers still have nothing. +1 is so close to finishing for them, but 32 more Lings are on the way. He's going to get on top of production soon. I think that actually might be it. Look at the supplies again. Holy shit. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? Apparently Croatia, but damn. Killing Björn and Zest.
What the hell is going on?
Innovation's going to have to stop playing whatever tournament he's doing. He's have to like get out of bed. I don't know what is happening right now, but he's going to get 2 phone calls, both being like, man, Mutas are good.
Yeah, twice in a row, Mutas just getting the win for Patak, but he stayed on 47 drones. Like it's the same story against Björn. Like he feels like there's an opening. He smells blood in the water. It's like, I'm gonna finish this game. I'm not gonna let you any opportunity to climb back into it. But tactically speaking, going towards that third base was a huge gamble. Like I can even feel like his excitement, like, oh my god, I'm actually gonna go for it, and I'm gonna invest all my units into trying to do something in that third base. But tactically, that was the right choice.
It was.
The army was split. He couldn't defend it properly, and you take one part, you take the other part afterwards.
There's just so many like mistakes that you'll see that I expect from these players that I don't know. Because, I've cast lower level players, shall we say, right? And usually one of those mistakes would be like not going for that blood. That is actually a mistake seen even from like pro gamers who just aren't quite there yet. They actually will let their opponent come back in. And Patak just like not letting that happen. But he's also not overcommitting when he sees the blood, right? Like he's actually making these super great decision-making moves. And that's usually what's, is the problem actually as you get higher and higher in the levels. But damn, that Korea win.
So yeah, that's the thing, right? That's what we anticipate. 86% of you guys think that Korea is going to take it in terms of the polls on Twitter. That makes a lot of sense, but did you guys see those games? Like, I don't know, like TAC, like can maybe go all the way. So 86% in favor of Korea. You can still vote. This is being shown live. So if you actually tweet right now, you'll see the difference in the percentages right there. But like, my mind is literally blown right there. Like, I don't even know what to say. TAC came prepared, and he has the guts, he has the balls to go with it. Like, it's not letting it go, like, not at all. Yeah,
it's going to be crazy if he takes an innovation. Of course, it's innovation plus one revival left, and I feel like if innovation also dies to the same thing that Björn did, if he does the same build, send Björn out and make him do 2-on-1. Just be like, no, stop, like 2-on-1, and like win. Because I think that'll probably do it. But even then, I just. Attack could be revived again, and maybe has like a second, build up his sleeve that we don't know of. Oh my God, this guy!
I can't believe.
It's truly impressive. So it was HRV win, right, for Croatia?
Yeah, HRV win. Just get on Twitter and just put on those hashtag HRV win, because you're gonna look like a genius. Because actually, right now, Croatia is leading 2-1. You're not dreaming. This is. Actually, what's happening? React on Twitter, as it's been said. Like, show us all your setups. Are you watching the stream? Are you comfy? Are you comfortable with your cat or your dog next to it, having soda or something? Just show it to us, and we'll feature them in the broadcast, obviously. So we know it has to be innovation. He's the only player remaining. We mentioned it. He has Korea has still like another life to spend with the revival of one of those players. Could be Björn, could be Innovation or Zest. We don't know it yet. But what I wanted to mention is that Innovation is a Team League guy. Like throughout his entire career, whether it was at the beginning in Korea, he was amazing in team leagues. He was also really great at the Acer Team Story Cup when he was in Acer. So he's a guy that you can, that you can trust to climb back those situations. And even in Nation Wars 3, he did he did some amazing reverse all kill. I think it was against Finland that he did that. So Innovation, obviously not to count out, but this guy. In the top right, that was probably the longest intro ever. But he gets 2 points against Korea. Nobody knows how he did that, but he's playing amazing for Croatia. This is Ptak.
In the top left, as the blue Terran, he is Innovation. And I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, he saw, if he's going to do his own build again, that, the second factory comes down to his Hellion Cyclone, he has a game to see what Batak did. He's like, oh, he went mutas, you didn't expect the mutas, okay, I'll anticipate the mutas, I'll have an engineering bay on time, I'll have a wall up, I won't be taking my third base so quickly, something like that, and he could still go for it. But Innovation, let's not forget, even though he's been like the Cyclone guy recently, does have his own bio play.
Oh yeah.
He could switch it up too, so.
Yeah. No problem whatsoever with the rally pushes. That he does that super well. Also, I mentioned it during Gyeonggi. I actually expected him to mix it up and go for the Cyclone build once in a while, like every 2 games, I'd say, and maybe go back to the bio with mines kind of style. He went back then for 5 games in a row for that mech build with the Cyclones and Netherlands. But right there on this map, he's actually going to go for the 2-1-1. We see the second racks in the production tab. Just going to mix it up a little bit and not going to, allow himself to be pressured by that guy that knows he has the build's number, actually. Like, he knows how to counter it.
Yeah. So I guess it wasn't Björn who had to be like, slapped a little and said, like, go for 2-1-1. His Innovation is like, nah, I got this. 2-1-1 it is. In the 2-1-1 build, I mean, he might know how to defend against mutas and Batak's build with Cyclone Hellion. Like, he might face on a ladder all the time and have practice against it. We don't know. But the 2-1-1 build is it's almost like the perfect build, It's 3CC was really popular in Liberty. I guess it was kind of popular in Heart of the Swarm too. But for Legacy of the Void, it's the 2-1-1 as your base build against Zerg because it's good defensively. It has offense potential. It has supreme micro potential. So that's the real trick. The Cyclone Hellion thing, even if Björn had been able to stabilize, he would have very little counterattack, especially with the mutas. When it comes to 2-1-1, though, and having Marines and Medivacs, of course, if you do take damage early on, there's a recovery process in that tech.
Oh yeah, definitely. The lava mechanic actually starts to to be a little bit too much against 2-on-1s. If you have to produce a lot of Zerglings to defend and you are not building any drones, you will fall down in terms of macro potential after that. Like, it's going to be hard for you to climb up that drone number to be feeling okay in terms of income. So he's actually going to be defending it with the Roach Warren, which is a better solution in my opinion in terms of larva efficiency. You're not going to need like 18 larvas to connect to defend the double drop. A couple of roaches and ravagers in the right position with some queens actually will make the difference.
Yeah, I guess Patak just likes this opener, by the way. Roaches in a quick lair, which has worked out, so I can't say anything against it. But I do find that the Roach defense against 2-on-1 can be a little bit trickier. They don't respond as quickly, of course. So say that Innovation does decide to go for the drop for the 3rd and 4th medevac as opposed to bulking things up, he might not be able to defend, but then he's on 2 bases. So it should be something as easy as natural defended, main defended. 3rd base might come down later, but it's going to be interesting to see how Innovation pushes into this once he realizes it's still 2 bases and on Roaches. I think the Reaper's going to recheck that here.
Yeah, it's like, what is this guy doing? Like, once again, like, I like to follow a simple order. Okay, you've got a 3rd base. My double drop is actually going to come out, and I'm going to pressure that base. But now you don't have a 3rd base. What is going on? Like, he plays so safe, and he actually plays his own style. That overload placement, even the Spore. What's going on? Like, he anticipates. Okay, I don't have a 3rd base. You're going to drop in my main, but I've got a Spore, mate. Oh my God, innovation!
Nice.
Like, what the hell is going on? Like, are we actually going to get ult killed by Patak? Is this something that's going to happen? Oh my God!
Whoa.
Innovation!
That would have been terrible. That would have been a terrible start.
Oh my God, GG. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay, 3-1.
Okay, so this is the point, though, that is so easy for the Roaches to defend, is when everything's just bulked up together, like, no problem. And Innovation, well, Patak's moving out right now. He's a little bit supply blocked. He's got Overlook on the way, okay. But he's moving out with his Roaches. Innovation, going for the 2-1-1 here, should have enough production, but I think he's going to need, well, maybe to pull the SCVs. Actually hard to say, but Patak's feeling a little bit confident to at least push out against this.
All right, Innovation actually takes a good decision. He's like, okay, I'm going to go down and take the fight. And right now, he's actually doing super well.
Yeah.
Like, all the army wasn't all in the same place, so he actually abused that situation just a tiny bit. Got 5 Roaches, 2 Ravagers when we look at the units lost tab. Innovation is doing super well, don't get me wrong. He has the 3rd CC coming up, starting the tank production. The first one is already out. Innovation didn't get flabbergasted too long. Okay, you don't have a 3rd base, you're going for that weird Roach play on 2 bases. I guess I know what's coming.
And now that the tank is out, I really don't think Patak's going to be able to do very much. I mean, I guess this is Patak's plan, is to try and hit before that production really kicked in. But with 2-1-1, again, like, there is usually solid production, even if you go for the 3rd CC. So he just didn't find an opening. He didn't find the contain that he wanted either. That's, I think, what he really wanted with that Ravager push. Innovation just kind of, like, took his bluff and just, like, slapped him with it. So it's actually a difficult position, I would say, for Patak right now. He did not get the economy you usually see that goes into mass Roaches. Yeah. So when usually they're maxed out, 80 supply ahead, what can the Terran do? I'm not sure Patak's going to have that. He could try and get the 3rd base, the gold base here, and make up a little bit for that time and keep at his usual drone count, but he actually goes for the regular 3rd.
Yeah, I would like him maybe to go for like a double expand towards the south side, because he's obviously going to get some pressure going. I don't think he can hold the gold and this one at the same time, but he needs to do something to get back into this game. He's still going to go for it with a strong composition of Roaches and Ravagers with double upgrades, which is really nice. But if this game goes longer, like, we know Innovation is not gonna mess up his micro or hit like a lot of corrosive bile at the same time. He's in his proper situation where he feels comfortable with. Like, he's gonna have the 2 upgrades coming in, probably gonna go for the +1 mech attack, producing tanks, never stopping with this, because with the new tanks with 70 damage against Roaches, why would you ever stop producing tanks, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that gold base is pretty difficult to take against Terrans, but basically against any positional units like tanks. So I can understand him not going for that one, but I do agree about the double expand, maybe to just further south. But Innovation he's actually looking really good already. Not much has happened, but what has happened is Patak decisively keeping off his economy and then just not doing anything with that. So he's definitely playing the catch-up game. This is the first time we're going to see him, I guess, over 50 drones, by the way.
Good job, Pac, actually reaching that gigantic number of 61 when we see a lot of Zergs actually going through like 73, 75 drones at least. 66 drones, so perfect economy over 3 bases. But the first proof of innovation is actually going to come in. He played that game, like perfectly in my opinion. Just didn't take any risk, and that's the main thing about it. Like you mentioned, Zest trying to defend the third base was probably a mistake by him. Innovation didn't do that. Third PC inside the main, not going for that third base too fast, and just waiting on what TAC has to offer. And right now, he has a lot of Ravagers, which is always a tiny bit scary to face, but he still has like no technology more than that. On top of that, like no infestors, no hive coming in, just a lot of roaches and Ravagers, and that fight is going to be pivotal. A lot of bile, he's going to be able to dodge all of them, and the first round of shot, oh my god! A lot of Marines getting blown up right there.
Yeah, those Corso Bios weren't so bad. I was just like, well, there's tanks, so I don't think the Roach Ravager can work. But actually, being 90% Ravager is kind of working out here. He forces innovation back. Usually, they want a higher supply than just 20 above, but this might start working here. And the tanks are all clumped up.
All right, gonna get all
the medivacs.
Medivacs, like 2 tanks and 3 medivacs. TAC still getting the right approach, the right attack, the right patterns of movement, and just getting the biles at the right position. And I mentioned innovation is not going to screw up his micro. He did lose a lot of Marines to that first corrosive bile, and that's the reason he's actually pulling back at the moment. Okay, scanning the main, super important. You want to know if the hive tech is coming in.
Yeah. So now that he sees that a hive tech is in fact it's not even close, then he can safely pull back, not feel that pressure. And he could even, if he wanted to, go to the 4th base right now. He is banking enough to do so maybe we'll see that. But of course, important to note, 2-2 already on the way, almost done by innovation. Patak was pretty late to it. I think he was holding off, trying to defend that push first and foremost. So his units are getting worse, and especially without the infestors. Roach Ravager, I mean, unless those Corso Biles are godly, which they were pretty good before, it will definitely fall off. It'll start looking actually pretty bad, especially as the tank count continues to grow.
That's the thing. Like in terms of probability, like I would say that army has a 80 or 85% chance of getting demolished. But at the same time, like if 7 or 8 corrosive biles connect and you don't have any Marines on the ground, then suddenly you can still lose the game. Like he's not out of it, but the longer this game goes without any technology being added in, TAC is doing worse, obviously. He's going to be able to defend that drop with a cool spore positioning and a couple of roaches and dropping down an infestation pit. And in my opinion, in this game, he doesn't need to go hive. He needs a couple of infestors, maybe burrow, and if he gets the 2 or 3 infestors fungal perfectly placed, maybe he can just, snowball and win the game. That's what he's gearing for, I guess.
Oh, his own overlords, that kind of sucks. So the 4th base isn't super well defended, but it's only 1 drop. So not able to do anything there, but I agree. The hive isn't fungal corrosive bile is so good that if you can take positional attacks, then great, that works. The hive is something that he's only going to be able to get when he feels comfortable doing so. He has a really good bank, but he's anticipating having to use that as the attack comes. Only when he pushes innovation all the way back again could he probably reach for that hive.
All right, gonna get a couple of tanks, maybe some Marines. The bile is gonna connect again. What's going on? Ptak, not even 2-2 in this fight. He's actually gonna crush innovation. What is going on? Ptak taking a huge supply lead. No, actually not that much. Like it looks great in this screen, but if you look at the numbers in the bottom, innovation is still in this game. 80 supply against 74. But TAC, once again, taking great fight, but losing 19 drones in the back actually hurts a lot. Yeah,
the main and the 3rd base was dropped. This is something that he could easily replace, but I actually wonder about his larva right now. He's on 4 bases. I don't see a macro hatchery. He has no larva. I think the queens have also been sniped, and we weren't quite mentioning that because you just figure it's Zerg, right? They have 10 queens.
Yeah.
TAC never went up that high, being on 2 bases for so long, so he has no extra ones for further creep spread or to replace the ones they're supposed to be injecting, and that is a huge problem. He had a bank specifically to overwhelm and then reinforce and carries momentum, and now he just has no momentum anymore. Innovation just pulled back safely to his 4th.
He's also making a lot of mistakes in terms of defending those drops, just going with the entirety of his army, actually going to take out that medivac with a spore, but that fight that Innovation took was probably just what he wanted to happen. Is actually exactly what happened. He took out 25 drones. He's like, okay, you're still on a really terrible tech. You probably don't have a bank because we're gonna trade armies. So you'll be forced to produce more units, but you're gonna have to do that so with 49 drones, which is really, really bad. And at the moment, we see the income advantage.
Yeah.
Over 1900 for Innovation right there. there with the mules and the 4 base coming in. I think Innovation has done it. Like, it looked super scary for a moment, but taking all those drones and being far away from his main, not getting that snowball effect, just made him like feel super comfortable now.
Yeah, I think Patak definitely made a mistake by not getting those queens. I don't think he would have broken Innovation completely if he had reinforcements after that really good fight, but he might have been able to get into that third base. I don't know about the planetary. Point is, something. Now it really is just back in Innovation's control. He actually takes the gold base with his main, and he's going to have such a good income, and his army is just going to be straight up better. We still don't have Infestors, despite having the Infestation Pit. He went for Hive and 3-3.
Yeah, okay, well, I guess I understand what he's going for with the 3-3. It's also pretty good. Like, I would have hated like seeing him going for like a Greater Spire or even an Ultra Ace Cavern because he doesn't have any upgrades for him. But going for the 3-3, I guess I understand, but I would have liked Infestors better. But we mentioned it. This game is going long, and now we're talking about a 3-3 Terran army with +3 on the tanks. So those interactions between the armies that we've seen before are actually going to be so much worse for Patak now.
Yeah. I really wish Patak had something that could just, that wasn't just, I'm going to attack you with brooches. Like, if he had infested Terrans being thrown out from burrowed infestors, I don't think he ever got burrow. If he got tunneling claws to start doing some harassment, if he added in a spire, even for just like 8 units, something that wasn't just about direct engagements, I would feel so much better. But when it comes to direct engagement, the only thing I'm worried about is Innovation taking those corrosive bile shots again.
Yeah, and actually right now he's actually outplaying him a little bit because he's going to lose the drops for sure in the bottom side. But what can you do against that number of tanks? Lots of medivacs in the air. 3-3 bio actually lost the Roach Warren, so not even able to produce more units on this one. The Evo Chambers are vulnerable right there, but I think that's Tax Live that's vulnerable right there because the tanks are in such a great position. He's going to try to make it happen with a lot of Ravagers, but he's losing units left and right, bleeding units, and as you mentioned, not that many larvas remaining. Has to go for the Roach Warren again, producing a little bit of Ultralisk at the same time, but I think this game is over.
Yeah, I think so. He would have needed a surround right there, like in a full surround too. The Ultras are probably one of the worst things he could get, unless he could have killed the tanks, which in this position wasn't going to happen. The Ultras aren't going to be good either. They wouldn't be good against mass bio in these numbers. They will definitely not be good against those tanks in that choke. They're going to come out and probably just get immediately sniped, even if they had all their upgrades. I think that's going to be it for our hero for now.
But the revive is not that far away because probably that's going to be him. Like, that would be so crazy if they actually decide to revive somebody. But we're actually getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because there's still a third player remaining for Croatia. So I don't know. This clan war is not over yet by any means. It's taking a long time to finish this game because Innovation is taking its sweet time. But that's definitely over here with 130 supply. Some Liberators getting set up, a huge Marauder proportion in this army to fight off against those lot of roaches, but also super great against Ultralisk. So.
Yeah. That's what Patak was waiting for, was all of the upgrades to finish. He won't even have the chitinous plating as he's forced to push in here. And that should be it. The tank's just going to obliterate the Ultras and the Roaches soon after.
Nothing's dying. Innovation is going to take game 4 here and settle score a little bit for South Korea, but we didn't anticipate that game. Not at all. GG, man, says Patak, but GG you, Patak, because right there, did an amazing game once again against Innovation, was sometimes a little closer to actually make it and take out Innovation with that fight at the southern side. But Innovation, the machine, once again, okay, I'm going to take that fight, probably not going to go so well for me, but, double drop, take out of you, I'm going to take out all your economy while taking my fourth, just securing that if this game goes longer, I'm going to take it easy. Yeah, and of course, the next opponent is going to be Uguay, the only guy left on the Croatia team. He's a Terran player, so up next will be a TVT. Exactly, and a TVT that's going to come just after a tiny break, because as you know, every 2 games we will do just a tiny break, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So just stay with us, keep sending your tweets, and keep using the hashtags NW4, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes with Game 5. Welcome back to Nation Was 4 with probably one of the weirdest match ever. Croatia, one of the lowest seeded nation, is actually giving South Korea, a run for their money. 2-2 at the moment, Jess.
Yeah, brand new to Nation Wars, right? didn't have a team
New.
last year. No idea who these guys were, but I think everyone knows who Patak is now. We'll see if Uguay, the next player for Croatia, can actually get something on his name as well. He is a Terran player, so we did see a TVT earlier today,
Yeah.
Bjorn versus Blask. That's who it was. But Uguay might have something up his sleeve for innovation. If Patak did, then I have total faith that Uguay does too.
Yeah, well, as we've seen, like anything can happen in this format, obviously, and Bjorn and Zest just not not good enough to take Tak away, which is kind of fun to say. But now innovation showed something that we expected out of those the top level guys. Like, okay, everything that's happening here is weird. But I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna figure out the way you play, and just surgically, like just drop here, drop there, just getting your economy out of the way, and just taking it long. And I'm gonna be 100% sure that I'm gonna be able to win this game. So innovation, just doing what he was supposed to do, took out tax. So I guess like the hype train is actually stopped for a little bit. But as we mentioned, we could see him again with the revive status, but the revive rule. Sorry, but Uguay we don't know that much about this guy. Maybe he has the same like kind of weird strategies that Ptak showed us, but in the TVT matchup, I feel like it's going to be a little bit harder to make it work.
Yeah, I would say TVT. Any mirror matchup, of course. Like as far as tricks go, you obviously know their tricks. You play the same race, right? So if you're anticipating a 3x Reaper, you can go for a one base build. That's totally fine in TVT. I would say that was like the only thing he could really do that I can think of is go for some type of proxy Rax build and get a surprise in. There's also a couple of 2-base, like 2 medevac drops that can be a little bit surprising, but as far as other, surprising factors, maybe Mech, but Innovation's actually pretty good against Mech. And Innovation can go Mech himself, too.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd be too uncomfortable with that situation. Uguay, unfortunately, I think... there's been a lot of cases where teams have barely gotten 3 players to reach that status. GM, I believe, was a requirement.
Yeah.
So he might have been that player that just, they had to pick up. His illegal act scores are basically non-existent, I shall say. So he has not been playing in a lot of tournaments.
All right, so I've just received information that I'm really, really sad to be telling you, but apparently Uguay is not available at all.
Oh, okay.
Which is like terrible because the rule states that you have to have 3 players, which would mean that we have to forfeit Croatia.
Oh no!
And I'm just like literally
so much hype.
like so disappointed in this, and I'm really, really sorry to be giving you this news, but yeah, Uguay apparently just went to I don't know exactly what he's doing, but he's not available. And since Croatia doesn't have a sub player. We're actually 100% sure that we have to forfeit Croatia, which is like the worst thing that could ever happen, and I'm really sorry about that. Once again, we had like an amazing Korea versus Croatia match that appeared out of nowhere, but the rules are the rules, and with no sub-player being available, well, I guess bye-bye Croatia. Like, I'm just sorry about that, but yeah, not having 3 players is it's mandatory to have 3 players and not able to show them. So we will have to forfeit Croatia. Sorry about that. Once again, we will be back with the next match, which will be Ukraine versus Russia. Once again, we need to go through the games because we got a lot going on today with the qualifiers for Nation Wars 4. Thank you for tuning in, and we will be back in a couple of minutes with the next matchup, Ukraine versus Russia.